You have all had the experience of meditating on the breath. Who has not yet meditated on the breath? Vyučili suže anapana. So in the Theravada tradition, it is explained that you should concentrate on one place. This place is called anapana, nimitta. Nimitta is a very important word in Sanskrit. And even most important for understanding the meditation we are explaining here, the Zen meditation. Nimitta means sign of the object. Sign of the object. It means also a picture. It means also, in a way, arising of the mind. The mind does not arise unless it holds the nimitta. Which mind? The worldly mind, samsaric mind, the mind which arises and passes away.
Sorry, Bhanteji, nimitta means anapana.
No. Nimitta means a sign of the object or the picture you make in the mind in order to grasp the object. Grasping the object means perception. Chinese is a wonderful language too, because it's a pictures. The nimitta is the xiang, which means a tree and the eye. Tree and eye. So you see the tree, you have the picture. First you have the picture of the tree, then you can grasp it is a tree, right? Now perception in Chinese is xiang, also xiang, but different tone. And you put heart below it. Heart is like this. So when you put heart below the picture, connect the heart with the picture, connect the mind with the picture, you get perception. Perception means grasping the image of the object. When you grasp the sign or picture of the object, you have perception of the object, right? Panyali? When we perceive something, we also receive something. When we don't perceive, we don't receive. A reception of the object is called Vedana, which, for lack of better translation, we translate sensation into English. But those who are learning Indian languages know that Vedana is connected with the root vid, which means to know. We know by receiving the object. And we receive the object because we experience the object. Reception of the object is the experience of the object. Anubhava, very wonderful word in Sanskrit. We have to have anubhava of the object to distinguish the object. If we don't have experience of the object, we don't distinguish the object. Here is Praveen. First I have to take the picture of the Praveen, then I know, aha, this is Praveen, this is not Prashant, this is not Tenzing, right? So here is a dialectics of the mind. It is not this, it is that picture, excluding other pictures. So when I exclude the other pictures, I receive that picture, right? I receive that picture, so I can distinguish that picture that is Praveen. And comes the memory of that picture. Praveen is, I know from Deer Park, and all the chain of thoughts can come, distinctions. I have a pleasant encounter with him or unpleasant encounter with him. I like him, I don't like him. All this is based on reception of the object. Are we clear?
So, Bhanteji, we are talking about this picture. So, this picture is meaning of generality of object. Meaning generality of object.
Yeah, you have to have a picture of the table to understand it is a table, right? But you understand it being the table, but you invite the dog from outside, he has a very different picture. So this picture already is something which is connected with our karmic consciousness. Karmic consciousness creates our attachment to concepts. If we don't have karmic consciousness, we don't have attachment to concepts. Our attachment, this is very important for understanding Buddhism, is not to reality, we don't know reality, it is to the concepts of reality. This concept of reality is different for me, different from the dog, different from the cat, different from the bird. And even among us, we have a different way of seeing things. I am from Czech, she is from Thailand, she may have a very different idea of behavior than I have, being implanted the concept by a Czech mother. So I have different ideas of how to behave. We behave according to our concepts, right? So,
just clarification. So we're saying direct consciousness, it has a perception through a picture. So let's say my eye consciousness is perceiving the table through an image of the table.
yes.
And then the reception, is that the second moment of the mind?
No, it comes together.
It comes together.
But there are some Buddhist schools, like Sautrantika, where it comes step by step. But normally in Theravada or in Yogacara, they come together. And it is logical. When you receive something, you perceive something. When you perceive something, you distinguish something. You cannot distinguish anything unless you perceive and you receive. This perception and sensation is called Chitta Sankhara, the formation of the mind. The breath is called Kaya Sankhara, formation of the body. In order to understand Buddhism, we have to understand how to detach from formations. Formations is our world. And we are attached to it because we are attached to our concepts. In order to understand what we're going to learn, this is very important. Otherwise, it's just philosophy. But according to philosophy, we see the world. So, now we are meditating on the breath. So, how we meditate on the breath? The breath, same like the mind. This is why this meditation becomes very interesting. You cannot grasp the breath. What you grasp is the image of the breath. The breath is always moving. You cannot catch the wind. How can you catch the wind? Cannot catch the wind. But you can catch the mind which receives the wind, which perceives the wind. That you can catch.
Is it a good time to also introduce the concept of sleep? Because as your mind is working with the breath, what happens if the mind shuts down in sleep?
According to Yogacara, and we are learning now a little bit about this tradition, actually the sleep and the awakened states you cannot strictly separate. That is why the real consciousness is bodhi, is awakening. In awakening, just when you wake up from a dream, you find out that you have been dreaming. In a dream, usually, unless you specially train yourself, you don't know you are dreaming. So if you have fears, you will have them in dream, you will have them in a non-dream, in an awakened state. If you have attachment, you will have them in dream, you will have them in awakened state. But all this is based on the samsaric mind. It is not based on what this tradition calls a true mind. That is Buddha's mind. This is very important. What the reality is not what we see. Reality is what the Buddha sees. This is very important to understand. What we see is a distortion of reality. And this distortion is in the dream. This distortion is also in our awakened state, because we have our likings, dislikings, and we are thinking in terms of our likings and dislikings. That is why we are not Buddhas. That is why we have learned first we have to understand our ignorance, and only then we can understand our wisdom. If we don't understand our ignorance, we cannot understand our wisdom. When I see through my ignorance, I am a Buddha. But because I don't see through my ignorance, I am not a Buddha. I am still subjected to my completely subjective distortions of the reality. Now we meditate on the breath. The real breath, just like the real mind, you cannot catch. What you catch is the concept you have made of the breath. That is a concept. Because you observe the object which does not have any place to stay, but your mind is staying on it. It is not staying on the real breath, it is staying on your picture of the breath.
But the mind is also perceiving the breath as changing.
According to the Theravada, the real breath is the quality of movement and the quality of pushing. But this also is, so to say, it also cannot exist apart from the mind. There is no pushing, there is no apart from the mind, no movement apart from the mind. Why our mind moves? That is also true, but because of prana also. It needs a prana to move. This is very important for understanding yoga. According to yoga, the prana is like a horse, and the horseman is a mind. That is why the breath exists in all body, but when you focus on some part of the body, you will feel the breath very clearly. If you concentrate on the whole body, you will feel the breath very clearly in the whole body. If you concentrate on around the nostrils, you will feel the breath very clearly around the nostrils. If you concentrate on the rising and falling of the belly, you will see the breath clearly at the rising and falling of the body. When you have good concentration, you concentrate on the top of the finger, you will see very clearly the breath, which means the expansion and shrinking, at the top of your finger. Depends where you concentrate. So, in order to learn meditation, what do you need? Concentrated attention. Please close your mobile if you have some. This is all that I teach demands concentration. And concentration is based on sati. If we have no sati, we cannot have concentration. Impossible. Sati is the key to open the door of both shamatha and vipassana. Without the sati, without mindfulness, you cannot open the door of shamatha, you cannot open the door of vipassana. So you are outsider. And in order to practice meditation with continuity, you need a continuous sati. Now we don't have continuous sati, therefore we have still mental problems. The Arahat has no mental problems because he has no interruption in sati. This is a difference between us and an Arahat. No interruption. We have interruptions, therefore we follow our fancies. What to do? First understand our ignorance, then we can understand our wisdom. When you know fancies as a fancies, you are a wise man. Then you can play with the fancies. Lila. But if you don't have the understanding of fancies being the fancies, you are a victim of the fancies. And we are very often victims of the fancies. That's why we get angry. That's why we get extreme attachments, which disturb the peace of mind.
When you say continuity of sati, does that have to be specific to one particular sense door, or could it be a combination?
All sense door. If it is only to one sense door, you are in big trouble. Then the other sense doors will give you a lot of trouble. That is a difference between the ekagrata, one-pointedness of the mind, and sati. In one-pointedness of the mind, you take out the other consciousnesses except the mental consciousness, which is based on your mental picture. In the sati, you are concentrated but open. All senses are open. Suppose now I talk. How do I know that I have sati? I see you, all of you, but I am not, it does not disturb the flow of my thought. Now if I start thinking, the Praveen is wearing what kind of jeans? Is it is it a Wrangler or is it and then how will there be fluency and continuity in my thought? Yet I see that Praveen has a jeans and she has this and she has that and she has this color, that color. I can see very clearly, but I'm not distracted because I'm open and concentrated on the door that I'm using. Of course, I'm using Vachi Sankhara, the mental door. What is, we have explained what is the breath is Kaya Sankhara, the sensation and perception is Chitta Sankhara, and Vitarka is Vachi Sankhara. Vitarka means samkalpa, thinking. Vitarka, samkalpa are synonyms. And samkalpa means put things together. I put things together, therefore I think. If I don't put things together, I cannot think. When you are deep in samadhi, you don't need to put things together. This is a wonder of samadhi. Why you don't put things together? Because your mind remains on the same object. When the mind remains on the same object, you have the same perception, you have the same sensations, so you don't need to put things together. They are put together by the situation, right? So very nice to know something about Sanskrit, which is, or Pali, which is a base for our understanding. The deep concentration means dhyana. Dhyana means thinking. To dhya means to think. When you are in a deep concentration, you do not think anything, but still you are thinking. Still you are thinking. But thinking does not mean thinking about the concepts. It means to be connected with the object. Alambanam chinteti iti chitam. That which thinks about the object is to be connected with the object. Maybe we should leave the questions for... we will have special time for questions. Otherwise, the flow of the thought will be...
Please make a note of your questions, and I'll make sure there is slips of paper. We'll place them by the door with some kind of container, and write your questions in your best handwriting and the most pithy version of the questions, so it's easy to summarize. And we will have a special session to cover the questions. That way we can see which questions are on the top of people's minds and prioritize.
So, the think usually, or meditate usually in the Western understanding means to think about some concept. But you think even though you don't change the concept. You remain with the same concept. And that is dhyana. You don't change the concept. Then, if you don't change the concept, you can merge with the concept, become one. Object, subject can merge together. So this, now we are going to study this text. In this text, especially important. One moment, one mind. That one moment, one mind means you are, so to say, analyzing the concept of emptiness. This is Zen. To analyze the concept of emptiness, you do not need to think, but you can think also. Very wonderful. Why is possible? Because in the dhyana of emptiness, you lack the idea of the thinking belonging to the self. So neither rejecting nor grasping. Neither rejecting nor grasping is ungraspable. Neither speaking nor non-speaking, unspeakable. Neither feeling nor not feeling. What is that?
Unfeelable.
Going beyond feeling. When you become enlightened, you go beyond feeling. But you are feeling. Not feeling does not mean not to feel. The Buddha, I have explained, teaches you cannot abandon feeling. But you can abandon grasping to the feeling. You cannot abandon perception, but you can abandon grasping at perception. You cannot abandon breath, but you can abandon grasping at the breath. You cannot abandon the body, but you can abandon grasping at the body. You can abandon mind, but you can abandon grasping at the mind. So this is called the mind which abandon grasping at the mind. That is called the true mind. The true mind arises not based on the ego, on the self, but it arises based on causes and conditions. This is what you learn in meditation, if you have deep knowledge of meditation. But it takes time. Nobody has learned quickly. Now, when you have experience of the mind which arises due to causes and conditions, not due to ego, that is a satori. That is the kaiwu, that is the bodhi. But you can have thousands of bodhis, but you will still not be Buddha. We learn step by step. But we learn on the principle of the true mind. Then it is Zen, then it is Dzogchen. So maybe in this course you will have some satoris, but this is not, it is only the way. Satori is a way, and way cannot be distinguished from the aim. This is the emphasis of the Bodhisattva path. The way and the aim cannot be separated. Now to breath. Now you want to get concentration on the breath. So you are observing the breath, but you are actually observing your mental picture of the breath. The real breath you cannot catch. What you catch is the mental picture of your breath. And because you stay with the same picture, therefore you can focus your mind. If you change your picture, you will not be able to focus your mind. Right?
Not clear.
Not clear? What is a monkey mind?
No, but the breath itself is changing moment by moment.
Yes.
So the picture of the breath that the mind is focused on is also changing.
It is changing, but that change is that change in the picture of the mind, not the change in the real mind, not the change in the real breath. Real breath disappeared.
Yes.
What you are watching is the image of the breath which has not disappeared. The real breath has disappeared, or is long, or is already not there. From the very beginning you don't observe the real breath, you observe the picture of the breath which has not disappeared. The real breath has disappeared a long time ago. And what you observe is not same as the breath, but also not different from that breath, because you have created that picture in the mind on the base of that breath which has disappeared. But it doesn't matter, this is philosophy. All you have to do is to stay with the breath. And you can stay only with the breath when you have a clear mental picture of the breath. If you don't have clear mental picture of the breath, you cannot stay with the breath. If the sound comes, your mind will run to the sound. If some sensation comes in the shoulder, your mind will run to the shoulder. Then if the ear, then that is monkey mind, no? Always running. Why running? because you have not stabilized the mental consciousness. The bodily consciousness cannot be stabilized. Only mental consciousness can be stabilized. Only mental consciousness can practice shamatha and vipassana. The bodily consciousness, the eyes, and so on, they cannot practice shamatha and vipassana. And shamatha and vipassana needs a clear picture. If you don't have clear picture, you cannot study shamatha, you cannot study vipassana. And in order to have a clear picture, your mental consciousness has to be stable. Stabilizing the mental consciousness means sati. The characteristic of sati is apilapana, not wobbling.
Not
Wobbling. Wobbling means
walking.
like a boat in the stream without the rudder. It will go wherever the stream goes, no direction. What gives direction to the mind? Attention. If attention not stabilized, no shamatha, no vipassana. If attention stabilized, you have sati. If you have sati, you can have awareness. If you don't have sati, you cannot have awareness. If you don't have awareness, where will you get in meditation? So now, in this method, normally in Theravada, when we practice you have to stabilize your mind on the anapana nimitta. No matter whether your anapana nimitta is top of the finger or here, it is most convenient because it is most clear. But you can stabilize also here, you can stabilize in other places. The easiest is here. Now, in this method of meditation, you stabilize your attention on the whole body. Your attention of the breath will be stabilized on the whole body, so the whole body becomes anapana nimitta. And how you stabilize your attention on the whole body? By paying attention to the period between in-breath and out-breath and out-breath and in-breath. If you ask a teacher in Thailand or in Burma or in Sri Lanka, what happens between the in-breath and out-breath and out-breath and in-breath, he will tell you don't pay attention to it and it will not become an object. Only in-breath and out-breath is the object. But now you have learned the in-breath and out-breath continues even when you're not breathing. And that is called subtle breath. That is called subtle breath. Sukshma, ashvasa, prashvasa. So, you start not forcefully, but naturally. You start to pay attention not only to in-breath and out-breath, but also to what happens between the in-breath and the out-breath. You can start again, as you have learned, in-breath and out-breath. You pay your attention here with the same idea explained in Patisambhidhamagga, Visuddhimagga, like you don't pay attention to the breath outside, you don't pay attention to the breath inside the body, you only pay attention to the breath where it touches your body. Like you use a saw and you want to cut the log into 2 pieces. You don't go up and down and up and down, then you will never do your job. But you concentrate on the touching place where the teeth of the saw is touching the wood. Then you can do the job quickly and efficiently. So for the beginning, if you get a clear perception there, it's okay, but pay attention to what happens between and you will see your attention will then spread to the whole body. If you're not breathing, attention is at the whole body, naturally. You don't need to do anything, attention will spread to the whole body. Because there is no any particular place at that time, unless you make it particular place. When you concentrate here, you will find the breath here. But if you don't concentrate in any particular place, you will find that the whole body is vibrating. Your pulse is there, right? Your pulse is your breath also. Your pulse is a breath. Pulse is a vibration. Vibration is a breath. The breath is gross, but it is also subtle. Gross breath makes the body expand and shrink, in breath, out breath. But this subtle body, it is called in Sanskrit Romakupa. Romakupa means pore of the body. When you are not breathing through the nose, you are breathing through the pores of the body. When you read the Mahabharata, for example, the heroes like Duryodhana, they could stay in water for... they were searching for them. Bhima and Arjuna, they are inside the water, because they learned the breathing through the pores. Bhima also, he could stay under the water for a long, long time. So this means we can breathe, we actually breathe through the whole body. And this breathing through the whole body is called Romakupa breathing. The breathing through the pores of the body. To use a scientific language, it is a cellular breathing. Cell. Cellular breathing. Nowadays, we are degenerating spiritually, but our science is incredible. You can take this electronic microscope inside the body and you will see the cell is living because it expands and shrinks, expands and shrinks, expands and shrinks. Incredible. Each and every cell is expanding and shrinking. Our body cell, the tree cell, the dog cell, same. That is called ekendriya, one indriya. The plants, they are ekendriya. One indriya, because they are expanding and shrinking, but they cannot distinguish between good and bad. Therefore, they are not. They cannot get enlightenment. We can get enlightenment because we can distinguish between good and bad. But the plant cannot get enlightened, they cannot distinguish between good and bad. Now, when you're not breathing, it does not mean that you are dead. It means that you are using this subtle breath to nourish your body. We can stay without the food for days. Some people are, even for whole months, they can dispense of the food. We can stay without water for a couple of days. But we cannot stay without prana for a single moment. If the cell does not breathe, it is a cancer cell. When we become old, we get the cancer cells, like myself. They are not living. Getting old is dying, is becoming a cancer. We are all becoming cancer, but when it accumulates in one place, it becomes a tumor. But we are all developing cancer. Aging is developing cancer. So in some places the cells die, so it is not breathing. So, we are living the cells because they are expanding, shrinking. So now, talking too much, we can meditate. Just try. Give it opportunity, experience, anubhava. Experience from when. In your text you will read, when the in-between breath becomes clear, it becomes longer. When the in-between breath becomes longer, the gross breath through the nose becomes what? Shorter. When you meditate also, the Anapana Sutta explains first Digham asasanto digham asasamiti pajanati digham pasasanto digham pasasamiti pajanati. He breathes in long breath, breathes out long breath, knowing clearly he is breathing in and breathing first long, then short. Why first long and then short? There is no matter of preference. It is a matter of first you relax in a correct posture. Our friend will teach you some basic yoga. What is correct posture? Maybe in the evening, or when will you teach? So the skillful means for meditation is asana, the science of asana. Stiram sukham, definition of asana. We have to be stable and comfortable. Stiram sukham. Stable and comfortable, that means the spine should be straight and relax in a stable posture with a straight spine, according to our ability. When you become old, like myself, you have shrinking of the sinews according to Chinese medicine. Our age depends on the shrinking of our sinews. When we become older, we start shrinking. Like before some years, I was 1 meter 72. Now I am 1 meter 69. Maybe I will become, after a few years, if I'm still alive, 1 meter 68, 7. We are shrinking. So now our friend will maybe teach you some Qigong. Maybe I will also one day teach you a little bit. How Qigong is a science also of expansion, extending the sinews. The sinews connected with fascia, fascia connected with the channels. So you want to prevent the process of aging, you try to extend your sinews. You don't need to worry too much about aging. You are still young boobies, many of you. But you will see that the ability to extend the sinews is the ability to stay alive long time, unless we have some genetic problems. We almost all have. So anyway, now we have 35 minutes or 40 minutes we give it. We should not be too miser. So 40 minutes you just experiment on yourself.
So whenever we are focusing on the in-between the breaths,
You are not really forcing it, but just try to make your sati attention, concentrated attention on that period between, not forceful attention. Forceful attention is enemy of meditation. I will explain later. Because we use forceful attention, we have no success in meditation. The difference between the experienced meditator and non-experienced meditator is precisely this forceful attention. Experienced meditator avoids forceful attention. When you can avoid forceful attention, you will see how many problems you can avoid. Forceful attention is always not smooth. The sati makes the movement smooth. Movement of mind is smooth due to sati. Movement of body is smooth due to sati. Movement of speech is smooth due to sati. You want to be smooth. You want to be comfortable with yourself. You prevent the forceful attention by sati. So you place your sati automatically when you're not breathing through the nose, in and out. Automatically your sati is spreading to the whole body. So just be aware of that moment. Don't try to prolong it by force. Just to be aware that at that time your body is still moving, but very subtle movement. And you can coordinate it with the pulse. Because blood is the base for prana, for chi.
and you recommend our eyes are open or closed?
If you're not disturbed by outer objects, you can keep the eyes open. But if you get hold of outside colors, you better keep your eyes closed. when you feel sleepy, you also can open your eyes. It will bring light into the mind. No? Eyes are light of the mind also. Without light of the mind, eyes cannot see anything. So shall we do now? Our friend will measure 40 minutes. So remember, first, relax. Relax in stable posture. Take your time. When you relax, your breath will become comfortable. When your breath becomes comfortable, our mind wants to be comfortable, so it will stay with the comfortable. And then you pay attention to the in-between breath. If it is short, then the in-breath and out-breath will be long. When it lengthens, the in-breath and out-breath will naturally become shorter, but not by force, by mindfulness, by concentrated attention. So you have timer? So remember, you are just breathing in, breathing out, forget everything else. How wonderful. You are just breathing in, just breathing out. It is a wonder, but it is only wonder when you forget everything else. If you don't forget everything else, it is a torture. In order to forget everything else, you have to be relaxed. The best is to keep the eyes a little bit open, not too much, so that you get light but not get disturbed by the outer objects. The moment-to-moment practice. Not making anything in the mind, but just letting it arise according to the wisdom, not according to ignorance. And wisdom is a Buddha nature. When we connect it with the Buddha nature, we connect it with the wonderful wisdom which does not divide but which puts things together. Om Mito Bhava.